Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and I'm joined with Cody Vojtech.
Hey everybody.
Hey, you might know him from his Rudigarn deck, which is actually his and not mine, despite what a lot of people thought. Pretty much like right after we did the interview, like what, almost 2 weeks ago, he's like, "Hey, I've got another deck that's I think is strictly better, but I want to, you wanted to, kind of sit for a minute and kind of figure it out, but you are ready to do a show all, right?"
Yeah, I think it's time that the public gets a hold of this thing. It's some people, a lot of my locals know about it, and we
Mm-hmm.
kind of have been discussing different ways that you could play it, and there's a lot of different variations to the build, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I found one that kind of fits this current format a little better than the other variants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you were afraid because some people were pretty close to the build that you had at the PPG event last weekend. So I know you wanna call your dibs right before anyone else.
Well, like the thing was, like the one of the PBG was actually a really aggressive deck that had the combo in it, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't strictly built around the combo. So
Sure.
it's like it was still a really solid build, and it was one of my original tested builds. And I thought that you could definitely go that route. But for people who really like, for example, miss Victory Strike or miss these really big, just hefty kill turns,
Mm-hmm.
this definitely has a hefty kill turn.
Definitely. So let's stop walking around it. Let's start. So first, we've got three of these Kaioken Gokus in this deck, and I'm showing off. They have one each of them, which is just strictly how I got them. I didn't buy any of these. I pulled literally one of each of these. Actually, my friend Abe did, so shoutouts to him. Two of these Paragus and the Secret Rare Broly. So explain the combo. It's not. This combo's been kind of floating around for a bit, but no one's really
Yeah,
kind of.
the combo is pretty standard. So what you want to do is you want to defend your life total as much as possible, which we'll
Mm-hmm.
get into later, like when you see the deck. And
Yeah.
then the big combo is on turn 5, you tap out, you play Goku,
Yeah.
you take your life all the way down to 1, and you
Mm-hmm.
rip your opponent's hand apart, removing their counterplay options, and then you pay 1 energy after you awaken because you're going to be playing an untapped 2 liters,
Yeah.
and then you play Paragus, swing with Goku, kill Goku, play Secret Rare, end the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Play Paragus combo or use its effects. Play Broly. Now you got two more swings. Still don't have any hand, and presumably you still have stuff on your board too that you can maybe kind of chip away with as well. So there's all that. And then, so the leader that you chose to pick, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking of like the Clash of Fates Goku as their leader, but you chose Yamcha.
Yeah, dude, I picked Yamcha for a multitude of reasons, and I think you can show off a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much the red extra cards are really what sets them apart from Clash of Fates Goku. I think they offer a lot more defensive capabilities and just what this deck is really looking for.
Well, that, and he's also crit on his backside,
That's
which
true too. Yeah.
he also doesn't require you to play any Krillins in order to maintain like his threatening effect. So on
Mm-hmm.
his backside, you can still give like some of the other battle cards in the deck the ability to clear a blocker if you need to,
Mm-hmm.
or you can give because you intend to combo your whole hand off anyways. So you can give like any card the ability to rip a blocker, or you can swing crit after you've decimated their hand to guarantee that you finish them off.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, and so first let's just talk about him. So he's a burst two leader, which I think is almost required for a kind of a turn five Kaioken deck. Just being able to get 20 cards in there. It's kind of like Super Shenron in a lot of ways, and we all know how that turned out with getting 20 and drop. And then he is an untapped two. And then on the Awakened side, he has two autos. One is that with Sparking 5, if this card attacks, he gets crit, which can be helpful for finishing the game. And then also, active main once per turn, you can choose, I think it's specifically one of your red cards, right? Yeah, choose one of your red battle cards. Chosen battle card can attack battle cards in active mode for duration of the turn, which you probably didn't ever use, but
I think I've used it once out of all the games
yeah.
I've played with it, but it does really seldomly come up.
Mm-hmm.
So the fun fact, another reason I picked this leader is one, we needed an untapped leader, mandatory. We had to have at least an untapped one, and then we
Mm-hmm.
needed burst. And unfortunately, the only two red bursting leaders are Gohan from the last set
Mm-hmm.
and this Yamcha. So Gohan fills all of our conditions minus the ability to untap because he's a draw two. So
Yeah,
that
if
left us
Gohan
really
was an
with
untapped
Yamcha.
two, he'd be so broken right now.
Oh yeah, I would. He would definitely be the leader of choice for this deck.
Yeah. But yeah, and so that I mean, if we're gonna be running red green spoilers, but so Yamcha's was a pick. There was also Clash of Fates Goku, of course, and then I kind of like I looked through it myself too, and we've got like the yellow Roshi, that doesn't really do anything, and like even like what Blue Dende would be a potential leader for this archetype, but I really think Yamcha is just the best far and wide.
So the only options really that you could pick outside of Yamcha, you could go a blue route and then you could play the Janemba, like the original Janemba.
That's true too.
So you
yeah.
could lock out counter. So that's a viable strategy as well. But you lose access to the good red extra cards, and I really think that You're Wide Open is strictly worse than Denial.
Yes, Denial of Hope I think is honestly the best one of them all, just because I think a lot of people are playing things that are above 4 energy but still have 20k or less. So.
Yep, it even hits Dimensional Banisher Fu, which is a really problem card for a lot of decks right now.
Yes, definitely. So for extra cards, real quick, we usually do these last, but we've got 2 Denial of Hope. 1, is that all you got? 2 After Images, and also 3 Kabba's Awakening. These might look a little bit weird right now, but as we go through the deck, they'll make a little bit more sense. So let's go through kind of the more prevalent cards for this. So we've got 4 of these Brolys, and also 4 of these Son Goku and Piccolos. So obviously we're running red-green, so this Broly makes a lot of sense because, just for energy charging, but we're also playing these Son Gokus and Piccolos, and because of that, we're also running 4 of the Clash of Fates Clash of Fates Gohan, and also 3 of the new Gohan from the new set. So
yeah, so you needed a Gohan package to fuel budding friendship anyways, and all these cards are red green 1-drop draws, which you kind of need anyways. So a lot of help there.
Yeah, and really, this Goku and Piccolo just help the deck be more flexible in a lot of ways, being able to make it a crit that draws you 2, and also like the other thing that people don't really think about is that if this card's in rest, or like one of these Gohans are in rest, your opponent really wants to get rid of these cards, right? They know how much value they can generate, and so they will, instead of attacking your leader or spending energy being aggressive on you, they're being aggressive against your cards, which are replacing themselves already.
Yeah, if you get 1 Gohan and a Goku off, that's a +3 because you draw 1 off the Gohan, which you're going to combo with, and you'll draw 2 off the Goku, which you can use to protect them.
Yep, exactly. And so this is like one of the reasons why Kabba's Awakening is super good, because you can have like this Goku in rest mode, right? And they can swing with it with a 15k or with a 10k and combo something like with their unawakened leader, and then you just combo with 1 card, and then they just feel bad that they use 2 cards, you used 1, and it's still alive, right?
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yes, yeah, and it's kind of the idea for like most of these control decks, right? Is that you are doing the same thing, you're keeping even with your opponents with just using less cards, and that's what this, I think, really promotes.
It also gives you a substantially good early game that not a lot of decks will expect you to have. So sometimes, like against other control decks, you can just start playing these Gokus and start pressuring them while you're maintaining your advantage.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point, because against other decks, like other control decks, you kind of have like, all right, I'm being really reactive, but this deck has a lot of potential to be reactive,
proactive.
Proactive. Sorry, I think I said reactive twice.
Yeah, that's okay.
But with these cards, right? And so if you are playing against a more aggressive deck, then boom, you also have 2 energy open for these guys to come out and just still ruin your opponent's day.
I don't think anything needs to be said about Vegeta the Cruel. My opinion of it is it's actually the best card in the last set.
Yeah, and then Goku, very similar, but just it's still Vegeta's better. We're gonna say it.
Vegeta is definitely better.
And then after that, we honestly just have like a bunch of green cards that help us guess there, and just really they're all pretty much 1-drops that just fill out our energy curve when we need them and just be flexible. So we've got 4 of these Trunks Bridge to the Future. He looks at the top 2 for a Saiyan card, and is it specifically green, or is it no, just any Saiyan?
Any Saiyan.
Yeah. So, but the other thing that he does that's cool is that he just sends the cards that you don't add to the drop, and so like let's say you have all your package and you just need more cards in the drop, you can just play them and send 2 automatically for 1 energy.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. You can also just play them, send 2, and then combo them off. It's also really good.
So very, very cool card there. And since, once again, all of our combo pieces right here, they're all Saiyans, right? And so this card can find any of them. It's only top 2, so it's not crazy, but it does help out, I think. There's also another reason we run this card, but that's in the side deck. We also have 3 of these Broly's, just to find our secret rare, and also it's good for finding our 2-drop, because the multicolor one, and also we're also running 3 of these Super Saiyan God Gokus and 2 of these Vegetas. If I think this card can be replaced by the promo Broly, so if you decide to run and go that route, you can search out the promo Broly from there. But I think this card is good enough, and since we want it to find our win condition, it's a good card there.
Yeah, he's multi-purpose. He'll either find a copy of himself, he'll grab an energy that you intend to charge, he'll find the secret rare, and the order of cards that you really want to take off him. No matter what, if you see the secret rare, it's an immediate snap take over anything else.
Yeah.
And then a copy of himself if you don't have the secret rare, and then finally an energy if you need it.
Yeah. So cool cards there, and and really like the one thing about this deck that you kind of have to actually prep for is that this needs 3 specific green and 2 specific red. So if you just put as much multicolored Broly's in your energy as possible, it's not even like an issue. So
Nope.
Go for it.
One really quick note about these Gokus and Vegetas. So the real reason I added them to the deck was I needed a way to have the ability to be flexible against decks that could really pressure early. And I was thinking about, well, I don't want to play anything for 2 because then people are more inclined to counterplay them, and then if they're counterplayed, I could fall behind. So in the event I needed to be proactive, I was like, well, these cards can help me push back against people who play like 1-drops, so they're trying to do a similar strategy to me. So I could play these cards and gain a huge benefit off of them. For example, they're both 15s, they both swing on Awakened Leaders, but the Vegeta can snipe off a whole board of like token blockers.
Yes, and that's the big thing. I'd say the potential big weakness for this deck is just a bunch of blockers like Goku Black, and so being able to have just a 1 energy answer to literally all their blockers, and if they have like a free to play Zamasu also, you can ping him too. So.
Yeah, and then the Goku is also a draw card and swing for 15, so you don't even lose anything if he dies or if you play him and you have to combo him off. So I mean, these are just really solid cards to play if you're trying to deal with an aggressive strategy. So like they're 15s, they can swing at battle cards, they give you an immediate benefit. They're just, if you're playing a green deck, you should probably be playing these cards.
Yeah, and just so if you don't know, both of them have Sparking 3. And if on their effects, but they also have a permanent that if your opponent has 2 or more battle cards out, they only cost 1. So the Goku, when you play him, you just draw a card. So for 1 energy cycle is great, especially with the 15k body. And Vegeta says you choose any number of your opponent's cards that add up to 2 or less energy and KO them. So that's why it's able to get rid of tokens. It's different wording than choose cards that are worth 2 or less. And so because of that, it says up to 2. You can choose tokens. So that's a little bit of edge case ruling that was more relevant now with all these Zamasu blockers. So there's that, and then our Goku Black blockers, and then last, the most important card for super combos, we're choosing Roshi because it's Sparking 5, and we get that on like turn 1.
Yeah, there are games you get it like on turn 1. It's fantastic.
So there is the main deck there, and then we've got the side. First 2, is that all you got? We're only running 1 in the main, so having 2 extras is fantastic. This card really lets you go 2 for 2 at times for 1 energy, so that can just destroy a really aggressive opponent.
Yeah, I only figured 1 in the main was enough because against decks where you really want it, you'll just side into it. Like the deck can side into a lot of specific deck hate.
Yeah.
So I really don't think you need. And the one thing that's really important to remember, this card requires you to ditch a specific red card in order to pay for it. So, and we're actually a little lower on red than we are on green, so it's important to have access to, like we're going to side out a couple green cards to side these in.
Yeah, definitely. But it's also kind of a good thing because you can get rid of like a multicolor card that's stuck in your hand, so I think it also has some good to it too. So there's that. Yeah. 2 East Supreme Kai.
So this card's just in case we have to really go, like, if we have to push early to try to get them at lethal kill range for Kaioken by itself, because some games you really want to be aggressive, because if you get somebody to 3, obviously you don't even need the combo to kill them. Kaioken does it itself. The deck definitely has the reach, especially with random double strikes to end the, and if you're against other aggressive decks that can actually outpressure your defense, which is really high, you need to be able to just push them back. And this card, in game 2, you'll side into it and really just go in for that heavy pushback strat, and usually it'll steal games for you.
Yeah, and there's just the fact that you have a lot of ways to give your cards crit. It makes this card great as well. Like your leader does it themselves.
This on Goku is fantastic.
Yeah. So there's that. So 2 of him. I was gonna. Okay, I had like a small nitpick. So we've got 3 of these Elder Village Guardian. So this is one of the new, like, I'd say like Janemba hate cards that what was it? You discard a card when you combo with this, and then you choose one of these 2 effects. One of them is you choose up to 3 cards with 35k or less power and 3 cost or more, and then you put them to the bottom of your deck. And then the other one is you choose one of your opponent's cards in their drop area, and you just put it on the bottom of their deck. Is that yes? No, they shuffle it. Yes. Okay, but yep. But with your cards, you put in your deck in any order. So this is almost strictly for getting back. If we mill out of these guys, we can't get the secret rare, which sucks. But being able to get this back in case we really need it can help out. And I think like just playing against mill in general can be really hard because we want so many cards in our drop area.
Yeah, there's a way to lose a lot of pieces very quickly to mill, so having to play these cards, unfortunately, as much as I don't really like playing them overall, will enable you to at least get to the point where you can stabilize against mill and maybe get your combo off, because if you pop off with the combo in this deck against mill, they just automatically lose the game.
Yes, because if they don't have any cards in hand, then they can't activate their auto. And your auto for Broly procs first, right? And so they can't, if they're looking down or staring down the secret rare, they can't use their auto.
No, the secret rare against Janemba reads deal 4 damage.
Yes, very much so. Alright, so there's that. The quick thing is that, would you say that maybe Champa would be better just because it could be a target for this Elder while East Kai cannot?
Yeah, you could do either one, honestly. Okay. I mean, it's such a minor thing that if it actually wins you a game, I'd be severely impressed.
Yeah, that's why I said it was a nitpick. I didn't want to be like, aha, your deck is wrong, but I just thought about that because it's really weird.
I just like his Mohawk, realistically.
Yeah, it's really weird the range of cards that this guy can actually hit. It's like a really weird in-between range. So next up, we've got 2 of these Super Saiyan Vegetas exploding with energy.
Cards almost strictly for the skillless matchup.
Yeah.
Killing off all their androids or any 1-drop free blockers the other decks may have is really important. This deck has a lot of weird matchups sometimes, and realistically, you want to be able to push against skillless with like your early game cards, which are pretty good. So having the ability to like clear off all the 8s so they can't just combo Goku for free, like, is a really...
Oh, can you say that one more time?
Being able to kill off all their androids before they can combo off the Goku is like a really big deal.
Yes, definitely. So, and like it's just a 1-drop green that you have space for anyways, so it's not. I don't think it's a big deal to run him.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to play that card.
All right, next up we've got the set 1 spice. So this is I'm gonna read it out loud just because I don't 100% remember, but so it's evolve for 2 specific green and 1 colorless on a Trunks feature. It's got double strike and revenge, but it doesn't have blocker. It's one of these like really weird, like in set 1 they're just slapping revenge on a bunch of weird things without blocker. But the main thing we run this card for is that when a card evolves in this card, choose 1 card in your drop area, add it to your hand. So which means that we can play it on top of this guy because he's a Trunk future, and then for 3, and then get a card back that we need.
And the main card to get is obviously the secret rare in case it's accidentally milled, but since it can add as any card or any battle card.
It can add any card. Yep.
So yeah, I was just making sure you can add negates with it, you can add after image with it, you can grab Kappa's Awakening, I don't know why you would. You can grab Kaioken, literally any card that has ended up in your drop you have access to, and that's why against mill I immediately side both of those and 4 elders.
Yeah, it's super helpful. The only other way we can do that is with either the Elder or with the Trunks Power Overseeing Time. But if we play that card, then we don't have 20 cards in our drop. So
now there is a way to do it.
Yes.
And it's super convoluted. It's waiting until 6 energy to do your combo, and then playing the Kaioken, then Awakening, then playing Trunks, then adding the secret rare.
Yeah, I think this Trunks is better. Yeah,
I agree.
But it makes it more awkward. So we don't. That's I think is a good pseudo balance for this deck. So because if we could just do, pay 2 energy to get any card we needed for our combo that we also milled throughout the game, that'd be bad.
I mean, Demigra does it all the time.
He's different. All right. And lastly, we've got a 3 Mercenary Tau because, in your words, probably Hand Destruction is probably one of the contenders for a bad matchup for this deck.
Oh, this deck can just get bullied by Slug. So Slug not only produces a very good early game at times, sometimes you get lucky and they don't open wings and they're not that big of a threat, but sometimes their board can be a little bit unwieldy. Even when you're playing all your 1-drops that are giving you back a card, it's hard to deal with like Anguilla, it's hard to deal with Slug playing stuff, and then once you get Titanic on turn 3, they could randomly hit your Kaiokens or Secret Rare, break your combo. So there's a lot of things that can just go wrong playing against Slug, so I found that like you really have to side these, and you have to hope they don't Krillin them off the board.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think if they spend the energy to Krillin them off the board, I think you're still winning.
Generally, yeah, but you're only really worried about like the Young Again turn where they intend to play like Young Again and then get the energy back and then maybe extend their play there because they can make a really wide board.
Yeah. But cool. All right, so that's all. What 50 or 66 cards with later. So let's talk about matchup specific things. So. What do you think are the really good matchups that this faces in the current meta?
So the good matchup, since we intend to get to turn 5, and a lot of decks are currently hitting turn 5, but we intend to close on turn 5, this deck generally does pretty good against Toa. So Toa has a hard time dealing with this because you're not being proactive early on, and with the turn that you are proactive kills them because they don't have anything.
Yeah.
So you don't really care about how many cards they draw because you're going to pick apart their whole hand. If you go first, I think that match is completely free. Something would have to go completely wrong for you to not be able to win against Toa with the going first.
Yeah.
Going second, though, it's a little bit different because they can drop the Mirror Chain on you and they can put a lot of pressure on you. Typically, it's really hard for them to keep a time regulator because we do run main deck ways to kill it, so that's kind of important. Another deck that does really good against is Hirudegarn. So Hirudegarn needs its hand in order to do its free negates, and Kaioken will bait a lot of their power, and then you can kill them with the Secret Rare. Another popular deck that this is pretty good against. This deck is actually pretty good against U6 veggies.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if you resolve like one counterplay against them, I can see like you just win.
Yeah, a lot of the times they'll be like, I'm gonna combo, and then you'll just Denial of Hope, and that's that.
Yep, and then you're done.
Like if you Denial of Hope the Champavados, I think you win on the spot pretty much. It's
really because they minus like 3 cards for 1, and then they also can't go into their things.
Yeah, like that deck has a lot of pressure, but the thing is this deck's super tanky. You're playing a 1-drop that draws a card that can combo off, and it probably drew you another 5k, or a Kaba's Awakening, or an After Image, and is that all you got, or just destroy that deck. So. Red is like the color to play if you want to deal with U6 veggies because they can't deal with power minuses at all.
Definitely, yeah, because that's like one of the best ways to get rid of the 1-drops.
Yep. Janemba Mill. Janemba Mill is actually a deck that this is really good against, but sometimes it's really bad against. So, for example, game 1, if you don't get your pieces, you'll lose really bad because you don't have access to like your answers for the deck. You don't have like Elders or Implacable Trunkses to get your cards back. So, obviously going second against them, especially in game 1, it's a nightmare. But, post sideboard and you get to go first game 2, and then you have your sideboard in game 3, it's really smooth. Like, the side deck really handles this. The biggest thing, really, the most important thing to do with this deck is make sure you prevent them from stopping Paragus from hitting the board. So the order at which you should always do your combo is you want to Kaioken, rip their hand apart, take any answers for Paragus, awaken, then immediately play Paragus. Don't swing with Kaioken first. I've seen people do that and they throw the game because they'll swing with Kaioken, give your opponent like 6 unknown cards, they get a counterplay, and then they go to play the Paragus and throw the game. So always hold the Paragus till you've ripped their hand apart. Don't swing, play Paragus.
Yep, be a good player.
Yeah, sequencing's important. Other decks it's good against. This deck's really good against most decks. So Control, it's really good against Control because you have a very wide range of play styles. You can go really good aggro early on. You can play reactive. You can play very, very proactive, and then turn 5 you win the game. So I mean that's you can put people on a clock well before turn 5.
Yeah,
And a lot of people, once they realize that your deck's like a really big combo deck, a lot of people will just take your early damage, like thinking they can maintain the cards to like live. And when they do stuff like that, it's only helping you, because if you get somebody to 3 damage, that's Kaioken ends the game by himself, so you don't even need the secret rare. So really pressuring hard, and like one of my favorite plays is to like swing with my leader and then drop like everything on him, and they'll just take it. And like if that puts them to 3, that's when you end the game with Kaioken.
Definitely, because I mean, you can just get them to absurd amounts. And so the only reason you wouldn't do that is if they have 2 energy open, with one of them being a yellow-blue multicolor. Champa, I think, like, I think we should probably talk about how important getting the secret rare out, because I think a lot of matches you can just win with Kaioken by itself. But against a deck that can run like Champa, I think you almost have to exclusively go into the secret rare.
Generally, yeah. So against decks that I know play Champa, you have 2 options, 2 very important options. One is you can play the secret rare turn, go down to 1 life, pressure them a lot, and then use your immense hand advantage, and then not use your energy to play the Paragus, right?
Yep.
So what you'll do is you'll pass with your humongous hand and just block their turn. And then once you've done that, because you have energy up from Awakening, next turn you'll play your Paragus, and then you'll go into the secret rare, and when they go to champ it to stop it, you can just counterplay Denial of Hope, and they don't have another counter window, so then the secret rare gets to like close the game on the spot.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, yeah, I'd say that the secret rare is probably more of a win more at times, but I think there are times where it's super important, and during those times you can afford to side into like some discard area, swapping, finding cards.
Yeah. So like one of the things, the most important thing learning about this deck is, unfortunately, normally I don't like playing decks where I like to say the secret rare is mandatory. And 80% of my decks, you'll see me say you don't have to own a secret rare. This is like one of those exceptions where you basically must own the secret rare to play this deck, I feel.
Yeah. This is like the opposite of like your old the Hurrigan video, where Hurrigan you can make it for like $20. With this deck, it's like anti $20.
Yeah, this deck is definitely not a budget deck.
No.
So like if you don't own the secret rare, this deck's not out of reach. You can still play the deck. You just have to play it more like the one that was played in Philadelphia.
I mean, I'd say if you're playing, if you like this engine, I'd say you can put in a 4th Kaioken, take out the Paraguses, and if you can even the other secret rare from set 7, the Broly secret rare from there, the SS3 one, I think that one's fine-ish.
Yeah, you could play that.
Yeah, and it's cheaper. If you have that one, I think that's a viable card for this. I think this one, the 8-drop Broly, is definitely the better one for a deck like this, but there's some potential for it.
Yeah, like you just cut the Paragus, and you gotta remember that card's also Broly, so it's also like you wouldn't change anything in the main deck.
No, because the 1-drop can still find it.
Yep, so you'd probably add another 1-drop Broly, because that would just up the consistency of the deck.
Yep.
If you cut the 2 Paragus, and then you'd add the other secret rare, and then you'd add another Kaioken, and that would be the deck.
I think that's a really good budget way to do it, because that'd probably make it under $100. And then I don't know how much Kaiokens are right now. I think they're like what, $10-15?
Normal ones are like $10, and the SPRs are like $25. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play this deck. Unfortunately, I just feel that like you can play this same deck with Clash of Fates, but your extra card quality goes significantly down.
But the amount of cards that are dead in your hand are probably also go down, because you're able to cycle more, and because you with the Goku, you get to choose 1 green card in your hand and put it to the drop. So it can be extra cards. It can also be like extra multicolored cards that are just simply dead. So there's some yin and yang for both. Yeah,
the only downside is playing the Goku. You really kind of want to fit in these Krillins that Eggman loves so much.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. Don't even. This is my channel.
To be fair, I do like the Krillins, and one of them is a 1-drop draw card, which fits this deck. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of malleability with the entirety of like how the package works. I just feel that playing a red burst leader, which unfortunately there's only 2. Come on, Bandai, help us out here.
Exactly. So
where's my farmer with a shotgun burst 2 leader? Come on.
So I think
there's a lot of cool malleability tricks that you can do with it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of augmentation, like just being able to switch cards. Like this is definitely just Cody's build. And if you think that the ratios are whack, if you want to add like another Paragus like I do, there's definitely room for it. And I don't even think this is going to be Cody's final build with this deck. This is just his current and probably most successful. But it really just bends to the meta, and that's why I like these anti-meta like decks where it can beat the meta as long as you're smart enough and have enough foresight to really build it that way.
I mean, let's be real. Kaioken into Broly is like not many decks can actually deal with that.
Mm-hmm. And the decks that can only mitigate it. The only thing that I can find that can really consistently beat it is just a lot of blockers. So that's going to be it. So any final remarks? Did we actually say what the name of this deck was?
So I've been recently calling this deck Saiyan Saga Extreme because if you look, like, all the one drops and stuff kind of lead to a theme, like with the Goku and Piccolo budding friendship and. But I mean, basically, if Egman has like an actual name for this deck, that makes a lot more sense.
You put me on the spot. I don't. What?
Oh no.
What was my deck name?
I don't know. Did you ever have one?
No, I didn't. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take Cody's. I trust him 100%.
Well, Saiyan Saga Extreme is pretty good.
Yeah, I think Saiyan Saga Extreme is better than No Answer. So.
But yeah, that's basically the name of the deck.
So that's going to be it. Thank you so much, Cody, for dropping by. I highly expect you to end this video and then just say, hey, I've got a third deck that's better than anything anyone's seen. But I'll wait until then. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll catch you all next time.